These three guys were about to do the most disgusting and horrifying thing of their lives, something so disturbing that just thinking about it would make anyone uncomfortable. Drunk and completely out of control, they stood inside a silent morgue, staring at the body of a famous and incredibly beautiful actress, Anna Fritz. There was no fear in their eyes, only a dangerous curiosity, and something far more disturbing. As they looked at the lifeless body lying in front of them, they had no idea that Anna's story wasn't over yet, because the woman they believed was dead wasn't completely gone. Deep inside, she could still feel everything that was happening around her. But how did Anna end up in this horrifying situation? And what really happened inside that morgue that night? To understand the terrifying truth, we need to go back a little earlier in the story. The movie begins with shocking news. Famous actress Anna Fritz has suddenly died at a party. Her unexpected death quickly becomes headline news, leaving everyone stunned. Her body is later transferred to a hospital morgue, where we meet John, a young morgue employee. Even John can't believe that one of the country's biggest celebrities is lying right in front of him. Curiosity gets the better of him, so he secretly photographs Anna's body and sends the picture to his friends, Ian and Ivan. The two soon arrive at the hospital to visit John. From the beginning, their behavior toward women feels disturbing, suggesting they're not exactly good people. The three friends had planned to party that night, but John still had an hour left on his shift. While drinking outside the hospital, John casually reveals that Anna Fritz's body is inside the morgue. Ian immediately becomes interested and asks to see her. John refuses, knowing he could lose his job if they're caught. But Ian keeps pressuring him until John finally gives in. He secretly takes his friends into the restricted morgue, warning them to stay quiet. After checking the wrong body first, John finally leads them to Anna's room. When he pulls back the sheet, both men fall silent. Even in death, Anna is breathtaking, and they struggle to believe that such a famous woman is lying lifeless in front of them. But while Ivan watches, Ian begins moving closer to Anna's body. His behavior quickly becomes disturbing, and Ivan's comments only make the situation even more unsettling. Ivan repeatedly tells Ian to stop and insists they leave immediately, but Ian ignores him. To Ivan's shock, John eventually starts agreeing with Ian. At that moment, Ivan realizes both of his friends have completely crossed the line. He keeps warning them that whatever they're planning is wrong, but alcohol, poor judgment, and their obsession have already clouded their minds. Eventually, Ivan stops arguing. Meanwhile, Ian and John continue drinking as the atmosphere inside the morgue becomes increasingly disturbing. A short while later, Ian steps back and talks as if he's accomplished something impressive. Ivan finally snaps. The two begin arguing, with Ivan demanding that they leave immediately. But Ian refuses to listen, and soon even John loses what little judgment he has left. Ivan realizes his friends have completely abandoned their humanity. Then something happens that none of them could have imagined. Anna's eyes slowly open. She isn't dead. For some reason, she had been mistakenly declared dead, and now she's beginning to regain consciousness. John freezes when he sees her move before letting out a terrified scream. Ian and Ivan rush over, and the three stare at Anna in complete shock. They immediately realize the terrifying consequences. If Anna survives and tells the police what happened, their lives are finished. Unlike the others, however, Ivan tries to help her. He gives her water, helps her sit up, and assists her with getting dressed. Meanwhile, Ian starts thinking about a dangerous solution to the problem. Ivan strongly objects, reminding them that whatever happened cannot be undone, but making another terrible decision will only make things worse. Their argument is interrupted when a hospital employee suddenly enters the room. The three men panic and quickly hide. Anna desperately tries to get the employee's attention, but she's still too weak to speak properly. Her body is almost completely numb, and the opportunity to escape slips away when the employee eventually leaves. Once he's gone, Ian panics again. He's terrified that Anna will go to the police, so he once again suggests taking a drastic step, but Ivan stands in his way. He angrily tells Ian that they deserve to face the consequences of what they've done, but he won't let him make another terrible mistake. Ian completely loses control. The argument turns physical as he attacks Ivan. John rushes in and manages to separate them, but during the struggle, Ivan suffers a serious head injury, and blood begins running down his face. John and Ian immediately panic. Just moments ago, they were worried about Anna, but now their own friend is badly injured. They drag Ivan and Anna into another room so nobody accidentally discovers them. Anna is in terrible condition after being mistaken for dead for hours, and her body is struggling to recover. Meanwhile, Ian becomes increasingly unstable. While Anna and Ivan lie in the other room, he and John clean the bloodstains, desperately trying to erase any evidence of what happened. Then a nurse suddenly enters. John quickly acts normal, straightening his clothes and pretending everything is fine. At the same time, Anna uses the little strength she has left to call for help, but her voice is barely audible. Before the nurse notices anything, Ian rushes over and silences Anna. The nurse sees nothing suspicious and eventually leaves with John, leaving Anna trapped in the room. A little later, Ian checks on Ivan and freezes. Ivan is dead. For several seconds, Ian simply stares in disbelief. When John returns and discovers what happened, he breaks down in tears. But Ian immediately tries to calm him, insisting that Ivan's death was only an accident. Anna has heard everything. In a weak voice, she finally warns them, "You'll pay for what you've done." Those words send Ian into another panic. He pulls John outside, and to begin discussing how to hide Ivan's body and deal with Anna while they're gone. Anna slowly regains some strength. Summoning everything she has, she throws herself off the stretcher and notices Ivan's phone nearby. She grabs it and desperately tries calling for help. But Ian and John suddenly return and snatch the phone away. Ian checks the screen and realizes Anna managed to dial a number, but fortunately, nobody answered. For the moment, they feel relieved. They then prepare to move Anna somewhere else, but suddenly, a ringtone echoes through the room. Everyone freezes. It's Ivan's phone. The call is coming from the exact number Anna had just dialed. Ian answers. The moment he hears the voice on the other end, the color drains from his face. Anna recognizes the voice and uses every bit of strength she has left to scream, "Dad, Dad." Before she can say anything else, John covers her mouth. Ian doesn't hesitate. He simply tells the caller, "Wrong number," and hangs up. Few seconds later, he walks back toward Anna. This time, the fear in his eyes has turned into anger. Looking directly at her, he says, "Don't forget, you're running out of time." But Anna refuses to back down. Staring right back at him, she answers, "You won't get away with this. You'll pay for what you've done." Her words only make Ian more nervous. Soon afterward, he leaves to find a large storage container. His plan is to hide Ivan's body inside it and get rid of the evidence before anyone discovers the truth. Meanwhile, John starts tying Anna's hands and feet, but Anna tries one last time to reach him. She quietly says, "You can still stop this. None of this started because of you. Ian is the one responsible." For a moment, John says nothing. It almost seems like his conscience is finally catching up with him, but only for a moment. Instead of listening, he places tape over Anna's mouth to keep her from speaking. After that, he leaves the room and continues cleaning up evidence elsewhere in the morgue. At the same time, Ian is searching for the container, but while doing so, he notices two nurses talking nearby. Not wanting to be seen, he quickly hides. Back in the room, Anna realizes she's finally alone. Using every ounce of strength she has left, she starts fighting against her restraints. The struggle is painful, but eventually she succeeds. Little by little, she frees herself. Then she slowly crawls across the floor and makes her way out of the room. Her body is still incredibly weak, but her desire to survive keeps pushing her forward. A short time later, she manages to hide inside a nearby room. Meanwhile, Ian finally gets the container and starts bringing it back using the elevator. John is still busy cleaning bloodstains, but the moment Ian returns, his face turns pale. Anna is gone. Immediately, he rushes to John and says, "Anna escaped." The words hit John like a truck, and at that moment, both of them realize something terrifying. The situation is completely out of their control. Now both John and Ian begin frantically searching for Anna. Meanwhile, Anna slowly crawls toward the elevator. She believes that if she can just make it a little farther, she might finally escape this nightmare. But luck isn't on her side. The moment the elevator doors open, Ian finds her. Without hesitation, he grabs her by the legs and drags her back toward the morgue. Just like that, Anna's last hope disappears. She's taken back to the same room she fought so hard to escape. While all of this is happening, John finally confronts Ian. In a tense voice, he says, "I don't think Ivan's death was just an accident." The suspicion in his voice is impossible to miss, but Ian immediately defends himself. He insists that everything was simply bad luck. Then he tries convincing John not to believe anything Anna said, but deep down, John's fear and guilt are only getting worse. A little later, the two reach a decision, one that will change their lives forever. According to Ian, there is only one way left to protect themselves. Anna cannot be allowed to survive. John brings over a cloth, but then Ian suddenly says, "I'm not doing it. You are." Hearing that, John immediately hesitates. As far as Ian has gone, John still isn't ready to cross that final line, but Ian keeps pressuring him again and again. The situation continues to spiral, and before long, Anna's condition becomes even worse. Then, her breathing finally stops. A heavy silence fills the room. This time, Anna is truly dead. Afterward, the two place her body back onto the stretcher, as if nothing had ever happened. Ivan's body is hidden inside the large container. Then Ion leaves the hospital, taking the container with him. He drives far away and attempts to dispose of Ivan's body, hoping to erase every trace of what happened that night. Once he's finished, he returns to the hospital. Meanwhile, John continues cleaning up the remaining evidence. He carefully wipes down Anna's body and places her back exactly where she was found. Now both of them believe they've covered their tracks. They think the nightmare is over, but what they don't realize is that the truth behind their crimes isn't buried yet. After that, John is just about to leave when something suddenly feels off. For a brief moment, he thinks he sees a slight movement coming from Anna's body. At first, he assumes it's just his imagination, but then it looks like she's trying to cough. The sight instantly grabs his attention. John quickly walks over to her, and the moment he removes the cloth covering her mouth, his eyes widen in shock. Anna is still alive. The truth is, she had only been pretending to be dead. John stares at her in disbelief. Anna immediately signals for him to stay quiet. The reason becomes clear. Earlier, when Anna kept telling John that Ion was the one truly responsible, the two had secretly come up with a plan. Anna decided to fake her death and wait for the right opportunity to survive. And after all, she was a famous actress. Convincing people she was dead was just another performance. Her acting was so believable that not only Ion, but even John himself was fooled for a while. But then, John hears footsteps approaching. Ion is coming back. Panicking, he quickly covers Anna's face again and steps away. A few seconds later, Ion enters the room. Even now, he doesn't seem completely convinced, so he checks Anna one more time, but once again, everything appears normal. Satisfied, he and John start heading out. However, as they reach the elevator, Ion suddenly realizes something important. His ID card is missing. Instantly, panic takes over, because if someone finds that card, it could connect him to everything that happened that night. Without wasting a second, he turns around and heads back toward the morgue to look for it. John desperately tries to stop him, but Ion refuses to listen. The moment he opens the door and steps inside, he freezes. His eyes go wide, because standing right there is Anna, putting her dress back on. At that moment, he realizes the truth. She's alive. The shock quickly turns into rage. Ion spins toward John and accuses him of betraying him. Fueled by anger, he grabs John by the throat. But before he can do anything else, Anna rushes forward. Acting in pure self-defense, she attacks Ion. A violent struggle follows. Moments later, Ion collapses to the floor, and this time, he doesn't get back up. Watching everything unfold, John is completely shaken. Terrified, he looks at Anna and says, "What have you done?" But Anna is far beyond the point of trusting anyone. After everything she endured that night, she sees John as part of the nightmare too. The tension between them quickly escalates. Another struggle breaks out, and by the end of it, John also loses his life. Once again, silence fills the morgue. The same place where the night began with the supposed death of a famous actress has now become the scene of several real deaths. And with that shocking final twist, the movie comes to an end.